I would like to draw your attention to one of the landmark happenings in Indo-US relations, that is the signing of the civil nuclear deal. At that time, I happened to be in the Department of Atomic Energy, which was handling this. Now, one thing I would say, in retrospect, the most important landmark in Indo-US relation is perhaps the signing of this agreement. It had a political advantage, even though it was basically for transfer of knowledge and fuel, nuclear fuel, and nuclear reactors to India for civil purposes, not military. I think the permanent result of this has been the political gain which we had from this. Our scientists felt that this is not going to help India. They felt that this is only a ploy by America to weaken or slow pedal the research that is there in India. You know why they said it? They know very well that uranium is going to be phased out. Thorium is going to be the fuel. And in the case of thorium, India has a near monopoly. Not only the thorium deposits, also thorium technology. Therefore, they felt this is not going to help India in any case. But what actually happened was, even though the technological objection was more strong at that time, and the political objection was ignored, now in retrospect, while I answer your question about Indo-American relation, I would say the political gain from the treaty was much better and enduring for us. Because now, after the Pokhran incident, a lot of sanctions were placed on India, not only by America. America went far beyond its call and encouraged or persuaded the European countries to place sanctions on India. Japan also placed sanctions on India. That was very difficult for India to bear. But India's resilience, we were able to get out of that. In 2001, all objections disappeared. That is where I try to link it with the new elections. So the Republican president, George Bush, found that India should not be penalized at all. And then was the opening up. The opening up came not only in the nuclear field, in the political passage. India was kicked out of all international organizations related to trade and business. We never had got membership. Even lending agencies were told by America not to consider favorably the loan applications from India. From that stage, from 2001 onwards, all objections, vanished into thin air. And the honeymoon with America started there. Now you see, we are having America as the biggest foreign direct investor in the country, and as trade partner, they are second. And opinion polls say that 74% of Americans feel that India is a favorite destination, not only for tourism. India is a favorite country. 74%. They feel that India is the sixth in the order of merit as far as the favorite countries are concerned. Therefore, I would say India has built up an excellent relation with the US, which saw so many ups and downs. As you rightly pointed out, in 1954, when they were taken in CENTO, that is the Pakistan, we moved over to Soviet Union. And now we have played our cards very well. We have the Soviet Union with us. We also have the US with us. Whether it is right or wrong, you mentioned about 1961, formation of the non-aligned movement. In retrospect, it appears that non-aligned movement has not helped in India. It caused a lot of euphoria at that time. And Nehru was considered, Nehru, Tito, and Nasser were emerging as world leaders. They were world leaders, no doubt. But when in 1962, China attacked India, not a single country which belongs to the non-aligned world supported us. Therefore, like they say about the Holy Roman Empire, which is neither holy nor Roman, nor was an empire at all. That is what historians say. Non-aligned movement did not help us. After the dissolution of the Soviet Union, after the Gorbachev experiment, when the world became unipolar, India realized the necessity of drawing towards America also. Now we have America and Russia with us. India is emerging as a world leader. Who said our foreign policy has not been good? In spite of all the vicissitudes which are there, I think India has been able to have its foreign policy and play the cards very well. Now in this election, you ask what is the impact of this election on Indo-American relation? I would say nothing. See, Indians constitute hardly 1% of the population of America. Of course, we are the second strongest, largest immigrant population there. And voting wise, hardly less than 1%. So that is not going to make any difference. But it is not the influence of Indians, but it's the affluence which affects American election. As they say, in diplomacy, there is no permanent enemy or permanent friend. In diplomacy, there is only permanent interest. As far as India's permanent interests are concerned, it is very important who is elected as a president, because it is a policy which matters, but not the person. But when there is a presidential system, I think the person also matters. I don't want to take sides in an American election now. Howdy Modi and Namaste Trump may all play a role in influencing the Indian voters. This I am saying because there is already advertisement campaign in which Trump sharing the platform with Modi is there. To counter that, Biden has also issued a part of the manifesto which focuses on Indians. Therefore, I think, yes, India is going global. We are in a position even to influence the election in America. I think let us wait and watch who wins, who loses. That is not the important thing. Whether India gains, that is the important thing. And I hope that India knows how to gain from the world politics.